Now, if you look over here at my sideboard, that's why I said we'll just kind of see everything for our day. So if you follow Algebra 1, go over to Thursday the 13th. I always have the date up here, so if you ever need to know, it's always up here. So here's what we're doing today. SWBA, what that means is student will be able to. Okay, the T is silent there. But student will be able to. So it's just saying by the end of the period, by the end of the lesson, you'll be able to do this. Okay, so it's kind of like our objective for the day. And so today, you'll be able to write algebraic expressions. And this is section 1.1. I always put in parentheses what section it is, so that way you guys know. So like next week, we'll see one and it'll say 1.2. Okay, so just so you guys know what we're doing today and have an idea. So if we have a test coming up or a quiz coming up or anything like that, always write it over there. So here's my note packet, same as yours. First thing I'm going to do is put my name on here. I am Mr. Kossel. Okay, so you guys can go and put your names on there so that way you don't lose it. Or if you do, we can get it back. So if you haven't written your name on there, I'd go ahead and recommend doing that now. Our first unit is pre-algebra. So to start off the year, before we get into some new algebra stuff, we want to go back and review some things. So some of this you might know, some of it you might not. So there's going to be a mix here. And so we're just going to start off kind of reviewing some of that stuff, or maybe just learning some of that stuff that we need to get through, okay? And hey guys, quick reminder for math, we do need those notes covered as well. I know it's uncomfortable when it gets old. I totally get that. If you need like a quick breather, okay, I'll give you like a quick one. But other than that, no. And also, I know we just come from lunch, but because of the mask and the corona, can't have you guys eating in here, which I would normally be fine with. But water, drinks, take a quick drink, put it back up, and you're good to go. Okay, you'll see me doing the same. So don't hesitate to do that. Okay. So the first thing we have is variables. We're going to talk about some important terms. So variables are symbols. My S came out kind of weird. They're symbols used to represent unspecified numbers or values. So they're symbols used to represent unspecified numbers or values. And if we actually look at the word variables, it's just saying it's able to vary. Vary means change, so it's just saying it's something that can change. So it's not a set value. So for example, like the number 1 will always be 1. 2 will always be 2. But x might be 1 or it might be 2. It can change depending on what the scenario is. So some examples we've seen of variables before are x. Has anyone else seen another variable used? Okay, B. What do you say?
Alphabet.
Okay, anything in the alphabet, right? Any letter. Okay. You can also use symbols. You can do a smiley face. You can use a star. Okay. You can use all sorts of stuff if you really want to. Okay. And it's really just any symbol you want it to be. Now, most often we stick with the alphabet. It's just common. And most often we use X if we're just using one variable. But you don't have to. So it's okay if you want to use another symbol to represent it. Like I said, it's just not common to. An algebraic expression consists of one or more numbers and and variables, along with one or more arithmetic operations. Okay. So sometimes we have just numbers, sometimes we have just variables, sometimes we have a mix. So I have some examples here. Okay. So the number 3 could be an algebraic expression. It's a number. The variable x could be an algebraic expression because it's a variable. We can have 4xy. It's a combination of numbers and variables, and they're being multiplied together. I could have 2x plus 5. I could throw an addition if I wanted to. Or I could do like 3x squared minus 5x plus 4. Make it longer, make more terms on it, add things on to that. And so that could be an expression as well. Does anyone know what the difference is between an expression and an equation? Yeah, Lincoln.
The equation has an equal sign.
Exactly right. Equation has the equal sign, okay? If it's an expression, you're not going to have an equal sign anywhere. If it's an equation, we have an equal sign, okay? We can solve equations, we can't solve expressions. Okay? So factor. Factor means we're doing what kind of operation? Anyone know? We have two factors, they're doing what together? Multiplying, yeah. So the quantities being multiplied are the factors. So in our previous examples, 4xy, those are all multiplying together. So 4 is a factor, x is a factor, and y is a factor. Okay? Or if you have a multiplication problem, you don't have to write this down. But if you have the multiplication problem, 4 times 3, well, 4 and 3 are both factors. Now that equals 12, we know that. But 4 and 3 are both just factors. Product is, it is the value of quantities being multiplied. So it's the answer to your multiplication problem. So if 4 and 3 are factors, 12 would be our product. And then we also have powers, which are our exponents, so like x squared. That too, our exponent, will be the power. That is our power, where the x is what we call our base. Alright, so we're going to talk a little bit more about those powers here. So we have 3 to the first, okay? So that's the symbol, 3 to the first, or 3 to the power of 1. So in words, we could say it either way. 3 to the first power, or 3 to the first, or 3 to the power of 1. I'll just say 3 to the first could be how we put it into words. Like I said, there's multiple ways. And what does 3 to the first equal? Not quite. Just 3. Yeah. So that means there's just one 3 there. So this exponent tells us how many of the base there are. There's 1 3. Now here's our symbol for our next one. How can we put that into words? Okay, Hayden.
3 to the second.
3 to the second, okay. And then is there another way we could put that into words as well? So that's one way for sure. Is there another way we could do that? Does anyone have one? Okay. Sorry, I'll give you a second to write down. So another way we could word that if we wanted is saying 3 squared. Have you ever heard the term squared? Okay, 3 squared. Or 3 to the power of 2. Okay, 3 to the second power. So what would 3 squared equal? Evan? What would 3 squared equal? 9, yeah. So that's 2 3's being multiplied together. So whenever we have something to the power of something else, it's this number with this many of them. So it's 2 3's being multiplied together. So 3 times 3 equals 9. So how would we word our last one here? Okay, Evan? Yeah, very good. 3 to the third. And there's a few other ways we could do it. Does anyone have any examples? Okay, go ahead, Lincoln. 3 cubed. 3 cubed. Okay, we could say, just like we had it on the square, this one would be cubed. Okay? Or we could also say 3 to the power of 3. And what would this equal? 27, right? Because how many 3's are being multiplied together here? 3 of them. So it's 3 times 3 times 3. Okay? Questions on that? Awesome. You guys are killing it. You guys are killing it. Okay. So, right below this, we have a little table here. We're going to start working on practicing writing our algebraic expressions, which is our objective for today. But to start, we're going to focus on some key words. So one of the biggest struggles that students often have is on word problems, right? Okay, you get to a word problem, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is harder. No, a lot of times our biggest struggle is knowing where the math actually comes from. So this table can be really helpful for us. So does anyone see a word up here and they know, oh, I know what operation that is, whether it's addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division, okay? Evan, let's start with you. Product's not addition though, it's something else that gets numbers bigger. Good try, I love the attempt though, for darn sure. I'm never gonna get mad at someone trying here, okay? Evan? It's multiplication, okay? So we're gonna put product under multiplication. So product means you're multiplying. So if you ever come across the word product in math, you're saying you're gonna multiply something. Okay, you just have to look for what you're multiplying. Okay, Aiden?
Take away.
Okay.
Subtract.
Take away would mean subtract. Very good. I have 5 apples and we take away 2. We're subtracting 2 from 5, so 5 minus 2. Okay? Evan? Sums for what?
Math. Addition.
Addition, yep, sums for addition. So the sum of these numbers would just be you're adding them up, whatever they are. Okay, Phoenix?
Decrease to subtraction.
Exactly right. Decrease would be subtraction. Okay? We decreased the amount of students in this room, or we decreased the amount of people at our lunches. Okay? Hayden?
Times for multiplication.
Times is multiplication, okay? 5 times 4. Okay, be a common one. Lincoln?
More for addition.
Okay, more, yeah. If we have 5 more, or if we have 7 more cupcakes, you're adding 7. Okay. Evan?
Split up
Yeah, split up's division. So if I say I'm going to split up the class into groups, I'm dividing you in groups. So if I'm splitting you guys into three groups, I'm going to take the number of students divided by 3. Okay. So we have, looks like 5 of them left. Quotient, difference, increased by, less than, and of. Okay, Lincoln.
Quotient for division.
Quotient is division. Quotient is the answer to a division problem. So just like product for multiplication, you have quotient for division. Okay? Phoenix, did you have one, or is that the one you're going to type?
That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay. Anyone else have one they want to try, or even just a guess? You don't have to get it right. Okay, Ash.
Difference for subtraction.
Yeah, difference for subtraction. So what's the difference between two numbers? We're asking to subtract two numbers. We're saying how far apart are they? So it's between 70 and 60. Oh, it's 10. Okay. Evan.
Less than is
Okay, not quite multiplication. Less than we're getting, yeah, subtraction, we're getting lower, okay? Oh, I started writing lower there. And less than's kind of a weird one because we go the reverse order. If I say 5 less than 7, we're doing 7 minus 5. So we're saying, okay, what number is 5 less than 7? Well, 2. Okay, so we go the other way around. So we just have increased by and of. Okay? Lincoln.
Increased by for addition.
Yep, increased by is addition, okay? 10 increased by 3, 10 plus 3. If we increase the number of students in this room by, or if we increase the number of snacks, or increase the number of minutes, whatever it is, okay? Evan, you want to try our last one here? Of?
division.
No, not quite, okay? Ash, what's your guess? It is multiplication, okay? I love that we're trying here, okay? So of would mean multiplication, okay? A lot of times you see it as 3 groups of 5 or something like that, and that would be multiplication, because you can say, if I have 3 groups of 5, how many do I have total? 15, 3 times 5, okay? Questions on any of these? Okay, this might be a really handy chart to look at as we continue on. Like I said, for word problems, this will be very, very handy for you to go through. And whenever you we see one of these keywords, it means we're doing that operation, okay? And there are others, but these are the most common ones. So right below this, we're going to put this into practice. And we're going to write an algebraic expression for the verbal expression. So we're going to take these words, and we're going to put it into math. So we're going to practice that stuff that's a little more difficult for us sometimes. So if I say 5 less than a number, do we know what number it's talking about? No, okay, so that just means a variable, okay? It's just saying a generic number. We don't know what it is. It's an unknown number. So does someone have a guess for what 5 less than a number could be if we were to write it in math, okay? Phoenix.
Wait, would be subtraction.
It would be subtraction. Less than tells us we're going to be subtracting.
5 less than 10.
Okay.
Or wait, is that right or no?
Not quite. So a number just means we're going to put a variable in there, okay? So we're going to have something minus something, okay? And then which one would come first here, Melanie? Do you think the variable is going to come first or the 5 is going to come first? The variable is going to come first, okay? So what variable do you want to use? B, okay? B minus 5 would be 5 less than a number. Okay? So if we say 5 less than a number, it could be any variable minus 5. Like Phoenix said, she's like, hey, it'd be subtraction because that's what less than is. Okay? And then Mallory was correct by saying our variable would go first. This is one of the rare times where we actually flip the order around. Even though we see the 5 first, we actually write it after. And the best way I can help you guys remember that one is if we replace a number with an actual number. If I say 5 less than 10, what's 5 less than 10? 5. So what math did you do to get there? 10 minus 5. So you do the second minus the first. I don't know if that maybe helps. I know it helps me a lot. So I was just kind of thinking it through that way. It's like actually replacing it with a number and thinking about what your answer would be and how you'd write that. Then you just have to go back and replace that number with a variable. Question on the first one. Okay, the second one. 9 plus the product of 2 and the number d. 9 plus the product of 2 and the number d. We have a couple different operations here. Does anyone want to take a swing on this one? Okay, Evan, go ahead.
9.
You're good. Holding up.
Are you allowed to read anymore?
What?
I told him to hold up.
Yeah, Evan asked me to hold up.
It's 9.
Okay. So far, so good.
Two times d
Yep, very good.
equals or not
Oh, not equals. That's just the end of it. Yeah, it's just an expression. And now for times, if you just have a number next to a variable, that means they're multiplying. Okay? So very good. Evan got that correct. 9 plus, so the number 9, plus means adding, so plus. Product means we're multiplying product of. So we see both words, product and of. 2 and the number d. So these are the ones multiplying together. Now you might be asking, Mr. Kostel, do we need any parentheses here, anything like that? That's a great question. So if we were to have parentheses here, you don't have to put these in. Well, order of operation tells us we would start with parentheses, so we do this first. But does multiplication come before addition anyway? Yeah, so either way, whether or not we have the parentheses here, we would do the multiplication before it, regardless. Now you might be asking, Mr. Kostel, could we have it written the other way around? Could we have 2d plus 9? Because on the first one, the order we had mattered a lot. Does the order matter here? And I'd say no, because addition, the order doesn't matter, okay? We'll learn about that with our property later, next couple of days, but you guys have already learned that property before as well. I'm guessing probably about 6th and 7th grade, and maybe 8th grade as well. But just a reminder, the order really doesn't matter. If we just write it straight from this, we get the green, but the orange is also true. It's the same thing. Questions on that one? Okay, the third one. 2/3 of the original volume B. Okay, go ahead, Lincoln.
B minus 2/3.
Okay, so why do you think minus? before we start writing this down, it's actually not quite correct.
Oh, no,
Okay.
you multiply.
Okay, now why are you changing your answer to multiply?
Because in the multiplication chart it says up.
Of means we multiply, okay? So we look for that keyword of. And we say, oh, I remember that word. On our chart, multiplication. So then we say, okay, we know we're multiplying. What two things are we multiplying? 2/3 of V. So 2/3 times V. Very good catch there, Lincoln. So we go back to our chart and we say, oh, I remember that word, okay? On number 4, you need to fill in this 3/4 there. Just print it as a blank for you guys for some reason. So go ahead and write in 3/4 there. The product of 3/4 in A, comma, raised to the 7th power. Then it says the comma is important here, okay? Now you want to take a stab at this one. Phoenix?
So the product of the multiplication.
Yep, we're doing multiplication. What are we multiplying?
Would it be the 3/4 or the 7th power?
So we're multiplying 3/4 with something. So the product of 3/4 and what?
And
What does it say?
the comma is important.
What does it say? It says the product of 3/4 and
A.
A. So those are the two things multiplying together. Just like earlier, said the product of 2 and the number D, 2 times D. Here, 3/4 in A, 3/4 A. Now, the comma is important. So how are we going to raise this to the 7th power? We did the first part, the product of 3/4 in A, we did that. Now we need to raise it to the 7th power. Anyone have any idea of what we might do here? Okay, Lincoln, what are you thinking?
But a exponent of 7.
Okay.
Top right.
Okay, right here? Okay, almost right. I would add one more thing in here. Anyone have an idea? And it has to do with this comma. So what's the comma mean in the English language? Does anyone know? Yeah, it means you're taking a space, taking a pause. Okay, if there's a comma there, you're pausing. So you'd say the product of 3/4 in A raised to the 7th power. It's a slightly smaller pause than like a period. Okay. Now, what this comma means for us in math is we're taking a pause here. That means we're doing this part first. So would I normally do multiplication before I do exponents? No. So how am I going to alter this math-wise to make sure I do those first, Sarah? Parentheses. Very good. I'm going to put parentheses around 3/4 and A. And then we're going to raise the whole thing to the 7th power, which is different. Okay? It is different than if that 7 is just on the A. Okay? We'll learn about that a lot more later on. I think that's chapter 6, if I remember correctly. But they are very different, okay? So that comma there is going to mean that we're doing a parenthesis. And I might even write that down if I were you. So jot yourself a quick note and to say, hey, this comma tells us that we're going to use the parenthesis. We're going to use parentheses. Did I spell it wrong? It's like, yeah, maybe it's like one of those things where it's like just like looking wrong to me right now. I'm like freaking out myself on it now. It is correct? Okay, thank you. I'm like, you ever have that? Like where you write something down and you're like, I feel like I wrote it wrong. No? Okay. Well, anyway, so that's what that would be there. Okay, so we have about 10, 11 minutes left. And we have a little bit more of the notes. What I'm going to do is we're actually going to end our notes here today. And I'm going to only give you part of the homework, okay? So I do have homework because I know first like actual full day of school we're already getting homework and we have a syllabus, which is the easiest assignment ever. Okay? So with this homework assignment, I would suggest keeping your notes out to help you with it. You don't have to, but I think you'll be helped out on the homework by your notes quite a bit. So for this worksheet, we're going to be doing the same thing we just practiced on these 4 problems. It's going to be the same thing, okay? Yeah. So we're going to have, So we're going to have these algebraic expressions that we're writing. We get them from these words. Okay, we get them from our words.
And this, I forgot, did you say we put this in the music quality homework?
Yeah. And always just a good idea just to double check real quick. I'll grab a few more before we do that. Oh, I am out somehow. I must have given too many to Mr. Rock. Okay. Let me go grab a few more and I'll get them for you. Okay. But before we get going here, we're only going to be doing numbers 1 through 15. We're going to be doing numbers 1 through 15. Okay, and we'll be doing the odds only. We'll be doing the odds only on 1 through 15, okay? So just the front, really, and odds only. So I don't want you to cross out all the other ones, because we're actually going to do the back on tomorrow's homework assignment, but I want you to do 1 through 15 odds only. So I'll write that down up here. And this one is going to be due on our next class, okay? So this one's going to be due on Monday. So just a heads up, might want to write that down for a note for yourself. The syllabus is due on Wednesday, okay? And the this homework assignment, the 1 through 15 odd, is going to be due on Monday. Now, quick reminder, when it says a number, are you supposed to write in like a number like 5 or something like that? No, what are you supposed to use?
Variable.
A variable, okay? Any variable of your choice. So I'm going to let you guys work for about 4 or 5 minutes. Then I'm actually going to play a video for you guys. And then we'll wipe down the desk and do all of that in the class visits, okay? Awesome.